Let's dive into a book that has started millions of conversations, and, let's be honest, a lot of arguments too. Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This isn't just a book about money, it's a book that completely flips the script on what most of us were taught about getting a job and building a life. For a lot of people, it's a huge wake-up call. It basically argues that the old advice, go to school, get a good job, save up, is a broken formula. So in this explainer, we're going to break down its biggest, most controversial lessons. These are the rules of money you probably never learned in school, but Kiyosaki says they're the ones that really matter. Let's get into it. Right from the start, the book hits you with this massive contradiction. On one side, you have the belief many of us grew up with, the love of money is the root of all evil. It kind of suggests that wanting to be rich is greedy, maybe even a bad thing. But then Kiyosaki's Rich Dad flips it completely on its head. He says, no, the lack of money is the root of all evil. His point? It's the struggle for money that causes stress, desperation, and makes people do bad things. And for a young Robert Kiyosaki, these weren't just quotes. They were the two clashing worldviews of the two men who would shape his entire life.
So at the very heart of this story are Kiyosaki's two dads, and they couldn't be more different. First, there's his actual father, who he calls his poor dad. Now, this guy was brilliant. He had a PhD. He was the head of education for Hawaii, a super respected guy. He believed in the system, worked incredibly hard, but he was always struggling with money. He worried about bills his whole life and died with almost nothing. Then you have his rich dad. This was his best friend's father. He was a high school dropout who built a business empire from scratch and became one of the richest men in Hawaii. So imagine being a kid and seeing these two realities side by side. The highly educated guy is broke, the dropout is rich. It forced Kiyosaki to question everything.
Now this right here, this is the poor dad's philosophy. And it probably sounds really familiar, right? It's the safe route. It's the script that society gives most of us. The whole idea is built around security. Get good grades, go to a good college, find a safe, stable job with a big company or the government. The goal? A steady paycheck, a pension, good health insurance. You're basically minimizing risk and trusting your employer to take care of you. For Poor Dad, this was the dream, a secure job for life. And then you get the complete opposite from Rich Dad. He didn't see that safe path as security, he saw it as a trap. His number one lesson was a total mind shift. Stop working for money and instead learn how to make money work for you. See, for Rich Dad, even a high-paying job was just a temporary fix. The real goal wasn't just a bigger paycheck, it was financial freedom. It was about building systems, like businesses and investments, that make you money passively, whether you're at work, on vacation, or asleep. This is the key that unlocks the entire book, the shift from being a part of the machine to owning the machine.
So what is this trap that Rich Dad kept talking about? He called it the rat race, and it's this sneaky cycle that keeps people working their entire lives but never really getting ahead financially. The crazy part is, from the outside, it looks like you're succeeding. You're getting raises, buying a nicer car, moving to a better house. It feels like you're winning. But in reality, you're just a hamster on a wheel, running faster and faster just to stay in the exact same spot. Let's break down how it traps you.
The cycle starts just like it's supposed to. You finish school, you land that first real job, and you start getting a regular paycheck. And this is a moment to celebrate, right? You're paying your own bills, you're independent, everything feels like it's going exactly to plan. That first paycheck feels like security, like you're on the right path.
So, you're a hard worker. You do a good job, you get a promotion. Maybe you get a raise, or you switch to a new company for a bigger salary. Your income goes up, and that feels great. You've got more money coming in, so you feel wealthier. You feel more successful. But right here, in this moment, is where most people make a critical mistake that changes everything.
And this is where the trap starts to close in. For most of us, when we get a bigger paycheck, our lifestyle automatically gets bigger too. It's called lifestyle inflation. You tell yourself, hey, I've earned it. So you get that new car you've been wanting. You move into a bigger house. You buy nicer clothes. Go on fancier vacations. The problem is your expenses rise to meet and a lot of times even exceed your new income. So you're earning more, but you're not actually getting any richer because every new dollar is already spent.
And boom, that's the rat race. That bigger house means a bigger mortgage. That new car means a bigger monthly payment. Suddenly, your whole life depends on that job. And this creates this toxic mix of two emotions: fear, the absolute terror of losing your job and not being able to pay your bills, and desire, the constant want for more, for that next raise so you can keep up. You're stuck on a treadmill, waking up every day to go to a job, working harder and harder just to pay for the life you've built. The book uses this amazing metaphor that just perfectly captures what the rat race feels like. Your paycheck, that next promotion, they're like a carrot being dangled just in front of you. It's always so close you can almost taste it. It keeps you pulling the cart, working hard, thinking that the next carrot, the next raise will be the one that finally lets you get ahead. But the whole system is designed to just keep you chasing, forever.
Okay, so how do you get out? How do you escape this trap? Well, according to Rich Dad, it all comes down to understanding one incredibly simple rule. This one little rule is the foundation of all financial intelligence. It's the main difference between how the rich think and how everyone else thinks, and it's all about knowing the difference between an asset and a liability. Rich Dad's definitions are so simple, it's almost brilliant.
Forget all the complicated definitions you might have heard. For Rich Dad, it's all about one thing: cash flow. Which way is the money moving? An asset is anything that puts money into your pocket. That's it. Think of it like a little money machine that you own. It just keeps generating income for you, month after month, even when you're not working. If it's making you money, it's an asset. The rich spend their lives buying these things.
And the flip side is just as simple. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. It's a constant financial drain. You have to work to pay for it. If it costs you money every month to own it, it's a liability. And here's the game changer. The rich focus their energy on buying assets. The poor and middle class spend their lives buying liabilities that they think are assets.
And this brings us to probably the most controversial idea in the whole book, the one that really messes with people's heads. Is your house an asset? Well, let's use Rich Dad's rule. Does the house you live in put money into your pocket every month? For almost everyone, the answer is a big, fat no. You've got the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, maintenance. It's a giant financial vacuum, sucking money out of your pocket. Kiyosaki's point is that even if the value goes up, that's not cash flow. Unless you're renting it out for a profit, your home is probably the biggest liability you'll ever own.
So what's the solution? Rich Dad's advice is simple. Mind your own business. Now, he doesn't mean quit your job and become an entrepreneur. What he means is that your profession is what you do from 9 to 5 to pay the bills. But your business is your asset column. The real secret is to keep your day job, but instead of using your paycheck to buy liabilities and nice-to-haves, you use it to buy assets. You build your business on the side. The rich focus on their business, everyone else focuses on their profession.
Rich Dad explains this perfectly with something he calls the cash flow quadrant. It's a simple diagram that shows the 4 ways people earn money. On the left side, you've got E for employee, you have a job, and S for self-employed, you own a job. People on this side are trading their time for money. If they stop working, the money stops. The goal, he says, is to move to the right side of the quadrant. That's where you find B for business owner, you own a system that works for you, and I for investor, your money works for you. That's the world of passive income, where you finally break free from trading time for dollars.
So what are these real assets we should be buying? Well, they're things that make you money without you having to be there all the time. We're talking about businesses that have managers and systems in place to run themselves, stocks that pay you dividends, bonds that pay you interest, real estate that you rent out for a positive cash flow every month, or even intellectual property like royalties from a book or a song that pays you over and over again. These are the true engines of wealth that can get you out of the rat race.
But look, just knowing what to do isn't enough. You could read all the books, but if you don't have the right mindset, you'll never actually do it. Rich Dad says the biggest difference between the rich and everyone else isn't what they know, it's how they think and feel about money, about risk, and especially about failure. To really succeed, you have to develop a winner's mindset.
This quote pretty much sums it up. Most of us are taught to be terrified of failure. The thought of losing money on an investment is so scary that most people just play it safe their whole lives, and because of that, they never get anywhere. But Rich Dad thought that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the process. For winners, failure isn't the end. It's a lesson. Every time you lose, you get smarter, you get tougher, and you learn what not to do next time.
And this is the real secret. It's not that winners like losing. Nobody does. But they aren't afraid to lose. That fear is what paralyzes everyone else. It keeps them stuck in the rat race because they're too scared to take the kind of calculated risks you need to take to build real wealth. Most people spend their lives playing not to lose, but the rich, they play to win. Playing not to lose is putting your money in a savings account. Playing to win is educating yourself, taking a smart risk, and if you fail, you learn from it and try again.
So when you boil it all down, the message of Rich Dad, Poor Dad is really about taking control. It's about personal responsibility.
Every single dollar that comes into your hands is a choice. It's a vote for the kind of future you want. You can spend it and choose to be poor. You can use it to buy liabilities and choose to stay in the rat race. Or you can use it to buy assets and invest in your own financial education and choose freedom. The power to change your entire financial life comes down to the choices you make with every dollar. So the question is, what future are you choosing?